Welcome to the DW experience. 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 You ready for tonight?
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the DW Experience. We are on episode 10. I'm absolutely excited. I hope everybody is having a great week. Shout out to everybody out there. Those of you who are snowed in, baby power's out. I know a lot of you are going through out there. So I just want to send a special shout out and just say welcome. Tonight, hey, Brianna, shout out to everybody. Tonight, I have a special guest. I need you to click like and share. We're going to tag some people into this. I have an awesome, amazing human being. He is an entrepreneur. He is a singer. He is a songwriter. He is a producer. He is a man of many hats. Welcome, everybody, tonight. My friend, Markevius Faulkner. Oh. All right. Welcome to the show. How are you today?
No complaints, man. I can't complain. How are you?
I'm doing well. I told you earlier, I'm just straightforward. I was just a little nervous, just because I think we talk outside. So to be talking on this stage and interviewing you, I'm like, this is, and I know you don't do a lot of interviews. Like when you agreed to do the interview, I was a little surprised because I was waiting on the no and you were like, yes. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right. He's agreed to do the interview. So welcome to the show. I want to start from the beginning.
Can I say something before you start from the beginning?
Absolutely.
I love your theme song.
Thank you.
By the way, it's in the key of B. I like that. That's a nice key.
Thank you. And I'll tell you the funny story behind that theme song. I came up with it in 10 seconds.
Wow. I need to be interviewing you.
Okay. Next time when you have your show, I will be humbled and happy to be a guest on your show. That's from your lips to God's ears. So you do music. You are the singer. You're doing this amazing person. First of all, let me tag Markevius. Somebody make sure to tag Markevius in this and we'll share it as we go. But you are from Memphis, Tennessee. Number one, is there something in the water? It just seems like so many great artists, singers, like Memphis is just full of music. Like Carla, Irene, so many people come out of Memphis. What is it about Memphis?
Memphis is, I call it training ground. It's the breeding ground for talent. There are so many. I know 10-year-olds that can sing and play rings around people that's been doing it 30 years. It's just, I think we're so used to it. Like we're numb to it.
Okay.
Memphis is loaded with just talent. But we have a deep, rich history. Memphis has a deep history of talent. I can go on and on about Memphis, but
so let me ask you, are you from a musical family? When did you know you could sing? When did you know you wanted to do this?
I knew early on. I was a little boy. I was at my Uncle Boo Baby house.
Shout out to Uncle Boo Baby.
Uncle Boo Baby. His name is Steve, but we call him Uncle Boo Baby. Everybody got an Uncle Boo Baby, Uncle Joe, all that. So I was with my mom over Uncle Boo Baby's house, and he was. That's when they had I thought he was rich because he had the big screen TV, the one with I call it the big booty in the back.
Yes.
The big screen TV, and he was playing this video, and I kept seeing a bunch of guys on the microphone well, at least I didn't know what it was. Now I know it was a microphone. And they was one guy stepped out and said, "Can I let Daddy sing? Can I let Dad?" I remember them doing that. And I just remember them sweating and how the audience was like really into it. And later, found out it was a Canton Spirituals. But just me seeing that visual and he having a keyboard and an organ or something in his home, even in preschool, just like seeing Mr. Ferguson play the piano, like, it was just something that just like, I got to figure out what that is and how can I be a part of it. I just naturally was drawn to it. So very early on.
Do you remember your first solo?
My first solo, I don't, the first time I was, in front of people, it wasn't musically.
Okay.
My mom had a production company called M&M Production.
Okay.
And we would put on like shows. And I want to say I was, who was I? Whatever, it was a Black History kind of thing, and I did a speech, and then my first solo was "Lord Help Me to Hold Out." John P. Key had a "Lord Help Me to Hold Out." That was my first solo, I remember. But yeah, those two experiences was like the early experiences of me being in front of people, like on the microphone.
So there is this young Markevius. I want to make sure you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay. So young Markevius in Memphis, Tennessee. When do you decide to come to Vegas? How did your life navigate to pursuing music and taking it to another level by leaving Memphis? When did that come about?
It came about 2011. I started thinking about because by 2008 or so, I had already like put out music. I had already been like on the radio and doing things like pretty early as a young guy. But I wanted to learn production. I wanted to learn show business. I'm the kind of person I always just want to like keep going to the next level. Like I'm not very like, I'm a busybody, when it comes to like my work ethic is crazy. So when I started researching places I can go to learn show business and production, and Vegas was just like entertainment capital.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I knew like I need to come to Vegas. I need to learn production, learn show business, learn lighting, stage presence, all those kind of things, because Memphis is definitely heavily rooted in like gospel. I didn't learn show business. I didn't learn how to perform or tour necessarily. Even though I toured before I got here, I didn't learn those things, the principles of them, until I moved to Las Vegas 8-9 years ago.
Do you feel like you plateaued out of Memphis? Like, do you feel like you had done all that you could do in Memphis?
In a sense, I do, but I know there's some, so much more I could have done in Memphis, but Memphis didn't have the platform, that I needed to, to keep going. So I guess to answer the question, yes, and I just wanted more, and
okay.
I wanted to wait,
So, and I want to go back to your musical background, but you get to Vegas, and now, for those of you who may not know, you have worked with Frankie Marino, where you, congratulations, you have your gold record for 500,000 records sold. How did you end up working with Frankie? What were your first jobs when you came to Vegas?
Oh man, nobody never asked me this. So working with Frankie, I got a phone call from Crystal Wesley sings with Frankie as well. So I got a phone call from her because they were doing a show, a Ray Charles show, and the choir. Were you on that gig? No, you weren't.
No. A couple of years ago, where we did the Elvis,
Yeah. No, you weren't on that one, but yeah,
okay.
that was another gig. But it was 2000. I don't know when this was, but I got a phone call. Frankie wanted a choir, so Crystal just reached out. I think she was overseas at the time or somewhere. And she reached out and she's like, "Hey, I'm trying to put a choir together for a show at the Smith Center. If you're available, like blah, blah, blah." So I was like, cool. I put on all black. I don't know who Frankie was. I went, I did the sound check. I was like, man, So the white guy can sing, you know. I pick on him about that all the time. So I did the show, but it was a part of the show. I'm gonna tell you how I started with Frankie. It was a part of the show where the choir had to come out through the audience, and we were singing, "Please, please don't go." We was just doing that and walking out, and you know, I was in the front of the choir, and he was on stage, and he just watched the choir come out. And he was like, "Who is that guy? Like, he's connecting with the audience. What, like something about him." So the funny part of the story is Frankie had been looking for me for weeks and weeks after the show. I didn't shake hands. I didn't network. I just did the gig and went back home. In fact, I was, to answer the other question, I was not getting work out here. You know, I'd applied for a job, like a traditional office job, 9-to-5 thing. And I kid you not, this is a true story. The day I went through like several interviews, you know, it's different rounds. So this was a high paying, like, a job, you know. So, so I went through my third interview and I got the job, and I'm driving with my shirt and tie. I'm driving to this company. I won't say the name of the company. So I'm driving to the company. I pull in the parking lot and I park my car, and I'm crying like, I came all the way to Vegas and this is whatever. So I'm getting out the car, my phone's ringing. I'm like, who keep calling me? I answer the phone. He's like, "Hey, this is Frankie Marino." I'm like, "Hey, what's up, man? What's happening?" He was like, "Man, I've been looking for you. I got a job for you. If you want to be a part of our band, we're going to Australia in 2 weeks. I would love for you to be a part of this band. Let me call you back." And I was like, job. And I ended up calling him back. I never went in the building. I sent the email and, you know, politely declined the position. I never went in the building. And from then, like, God has just been blessing, you know, ever since I've been in Vegas.
So, okay, so I'm going to change it up a little bit, but I mean, listening to your story, number one, did you want to give up? Was there a time you're not getting work, you come to Vegas, it's not going, you're not booking the gigs, now you have to go to a regular job, the last thing you came to Vegas for? Were you discouraged? Did you want to quit, or did you believe that I know something's gonna break at some point?
Both. My natural man was like, "Man, this is cray, man." I was doing well in Memphis. I had no reason to leave Memphis. I was singing, playing, producing, doing all that back home. And then my spiritual man was like, "Don't forget who you are. Don't forget your dreams. Don't forget what you journal about, your vision boards." So your vision casting, and I'm very huge on vision casting. So absolutely, I wanted to give up because I wasn't getting any work. Nobody knew who I was. Like, people knew me back home, and it's so crazy. I can go back home and take pictures and listen to myself on the radio in the whole region, the whole southern part of the States, or even East Coast. But out here, nobody knew who I was. I came out here with nothing. I didn't have my car. I didn't have a whole lot of money. I had my, royalty checks and residuals, but I didn't just have hard liquid cash on me like that. In fact, I was catching the bus because I didn't have a car. Uber wasn't out. So I was catching the bus. The only street I knew was Rancho and Las Vegas Boulevard. Those are the only two streets I knew. So absolutely, there were moments where I didn't want to do this and didn't want to pursue this. And I was like, what other gifts do I have? What administrative gifts do I have? And how can I, do work?
Let me ask you, are people jealous of you?
I'm learning that I believe people are, but I struggle with that because I have no clue why.
I mean, just listening to your story, you've been blessed, and I think sometimes when people look from the outside, they see, he's working with Frankie, he's got this business, this vocal teacher, he's working with. I mean, you've worked with some of our favorite celebrities, Kim Burrell, Lexi. I don't even want to name all the people that you've worked with, because you have literally. I know that you can open your phone right now and call up some people because you just, people respect you. So I wonder, like, do you find people jealous of you? Do you find that, as they say, they hating?
Well, one of the things that I learned the past maybe 5 years or so, like I learned that that's not my responsibility because I would
Mm,
that responsibility. But if you feel some type of way about me living, breathing, and functioning in my gift that I didn't ask for, it was a gift, so I got it at birth. That's not. It's not. It's none of my business how you feel about me being who I am. That's
mm.
that's you. If you talk to me, if you get to know me, you will. If you knew my story, you knew how I got to where I am now. Why would you? You would. Yeah. If God can do it for me, He can do it for you too. So, but
So, with all of your experience, and we have so much more to talk about, but being in the industry, you have been in the industry for well over 10 years professionally. Up till now, what has Markevius learned about himself and about the industry?
um, what I learned about the industry is you really need it's talent is 40%
Hmm.
of the whole picture. Talent, singing, the whole musical part. Um, the other 60 is how you made people feel, who you are off stage. There are some people who are uberly talented, but they have the worst attitude. They're self-righteous. They're so successful in their mind. They've been there, done that, recorded this, opened up for this person, and they have this self-righteousness. And I learned that, and I learned this from Donna Lawrence, and I know Maya Angelou said it, but Donna Lawrence told me one time, like, people don't remember what you sound like. They remember how you made them feel. Um, and I always carry that with me. And what I learned about myself is I genuinely love teaching, and I love people. And I'm naturally introverted, but I absolutely love people so much where it sometimes breaks my heart when I hear
Mm.
someone's jealous or hear that someone feel a certain way about me. That actually like messes with me sometimes.
How do you think you've made people feel?
Um, I hope people feel good. I hope people feel inspired. My gift is not music. Most people think, oh, your gift is music and producing and writing no, my gift is a gift of encouragement, a gift of teaching, and I have a natural gift of wisdom. If I was an auto mechanic, I would be trying to teach people how to be an auto mechanic. If I was a basketball player, I would want to teach the fundamentals of basketball, not to be the star. So I hope people feel good. That's my goal, that you feel good, inspired, or encouraged, being connected to me in any kind of way.
So, like, it sounds like what I'm hearing, the gift is the conduit to what you're really called to do or called to be. Talk about that some more, because I find that so fascinating to even, hear you say, music is not really my calling. I think there's some people listening right now that'll listen on the replay that you just blew their mind, because you have people who are killing themselves to get in the industry, who want to make it, who haven't had the success, and they feel like they're not working in their gift. But what I'm hearing from you is your gift is not your calling is not necessarily your gift. Can you talk about that?
So, and I learned this because I study gifts, and I study gifts from a biblical perspective. Most people think because they have a natural talent, that's their purpose. So sometimes a lot of frustration comes with a lot of artists and creative people, because you have a skill set that you're good at, and you feel like that's your purpose in life because you have a skill set. You can learn to play piano, right? But once you figure out the gifts of the Spirit, once you study the gifts of the Spirit and the fruit of the Spirit, and find who you are in that list from that God-given gifts of and music is not one of the gifts of the Spirit. There's a gift of encouragement, wisdom, pastor, evangelist, teacher, prophet. Those are gifts from God. Now you can use and Sherry Jones Moffett, and it's not like no name dropping. These are people from Memphis that I'm just cool with, right? But
no, it's okay. Hey, Sherry.
She sings "Encourage Yourself." By the way, that's okay. But she,
that little old song, yeah.
She always reminded me that you can use whatever vehicle you choose, and the reason why I feel like God has blessed me because I use the vehicle of music because I have a skill set in that. I have a passion and a heart for it, so I use it as a vehicle to get my message across of encouragement, empowerment. My dream is to help make other people's dreams come true. I do not like being in the spotlight. I think it's too boring for me. Being a star is boring. I feel like stars burn and they fall, right?
That's good. That's good. It's temporary.
It's temporary. But if I can help produce stars, if I can be a producer of blessings, I'm happier that way. I'm happier when I'm teaching. Like, I love touring. I've been around the world a couple of times, literally a couple of times. But I'm even more happier, like, if I'm teaching and inspiring and encouraging Daryl, encouraging John or Ashley or Freddie to be who they are. That I can sleep better at night than me being like, woohoo, So
that's so good because it really, if I can say it this way, you can be a hairstylist, but your calling would be to encourage people to feel better about themselves through doing hair. Am I saying that right?
There are people who work in the beauty industry, and sometimes people know their purpose, and sometimes people just naturally just kind of on that frequency and they're doing well because you just tapped into it. But when you know your purpose is to make people feel better and not be self-conscious and to feel beautiful in some kind of way, and you just so happen to know how to do hair and make people feel great, it's the conversations that you're having in the chair while you're getting braided or twisted or locked or shampooed. It's those conversations. I'm telling you, that's why the Bible says your gift will make room for you. It didn't say your talent. It didn't say your skill set. It said your gift. And you have to really, really, I encourage people to Google spiritual gift test. If you Google it, it's a long test. It's about 50, maybe 100 questions. Take that test and you may see that you may be number one in administration. You may be a phenomenal singer, but you're number one in administration. So ask God help me. How can I use my talent and my gift, and how can I merge them to serve the world, serve mankind? So I figured out mine is teaching, mine is encouragement. So I use my gift and my natural skill set in music, and I merged them. That's why I have, the business I have. I can't hear you.
Artist, business owner, entrepreneur, looking for a new way to promote your business? Look no further. Hit me up at the dwexperience702@gmail.com or just DM me. We're waiting on you.
I can't hear you. Yep.
Have you always wanted to learn to play an instrument? write a song, or work with a vocal coach? Melodic Minds Music Academy is more than your average studio for beginner and professional music lessons. Here at Melodic Minds, we strive to use music as a vessel to build self-confidence, respect, and discipline to help our students accomplish their goals and dreams. For several years, Melodic Minds has created a culture that fosters artistic creativity. We teach aspiring musicians, songwriters, performers, and singers of all ages and learning capacities. Visit us at www.melodicmindsmusicacademy.com. Click, enroll, and start perfecting your craft today.
All right. Markevius.
What's going on, brother?
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Jumped on in. I saw that DW was having a malfunction with the microphone, so I'll come and fill in. So, coming into the interview, I just wanted to kind of add on to it. Oh, there you go. So,
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Can I tell you something? In all the 10 episodes and a month and a half I have been doing this show, this has never, ever happened to me. One time it happens on Dante's show. And, I was at the new beginning. I'm back, y'all. Thank you, Pastor Jay, for stepping in.
I was going to ask a question before I get off.
Yeah, go ahead. Absolutely, please.
So, Markevius, we know all about your successes and all the great things you're doing. What is your next goal for 2021?
The next goal for 2021. I am starting. I know I'm probably jumping ahead of the interview, but I'm starting two things. I'm starting to mobilize music education. So we're going to have buses that go out into underserved communities to build academics in our young people. And also I'm launching a product line of music education games. So it'll be card games, board games, actual physical drop the puck down the thing kind of game. So those are my two goals, to really, really dive into this music education thing to enhance the minds and help with some of these test scores in our community and stuff. So those are the goals I have.
So let's talk. Go ahead.
So you're adding to, so that you're trying to add something to be able to build a legacy, so that when you leave this earth, you can say, I build a legacy to the next generation of singers.
Hey, I'm more so focused on the mindset of creative individuals. I'm not necessarily thinking about a legacy per se, but I just know how it is being young, growing up, and not having that platform, being called weird, being called different, but having that space where you can be who you are, and using music as a tool to inspire those. So that's really my goal for 2021. Like, it's not like to build my name, put my name on something, say I did this when I left the earth, before I leave the earth, nothing like that. Just music education, enhancing minds, and letting people know that it's okay to be who you are. And I'm using music as a vehicle for that.
Yeah.
Hey, well, thank you, everybody. This is Pastor Jay. I'll see y'all and be watching in the crowd.
Thank you, Pastor Jay. Shout out to Pastor Jay. What's going on, everybody? I am back. Tag all of your friends, tag everybody, let them know DW is back. I'm going to just assume that the devil is really mad and that there's going to be some really great information. Somebody is going to be inspired. Somebody is going to be uplifted. So listen, technical difficulties, it happens, but we're going to keep going. That's what we do. The difference between a failure and someone who is successful is that the successful person got back up again. So this is what we're going to do, y'all. Let's start over again.
Welcome to the DW experience. Welcome to the DW experience. Welcome to the DW experience.
Hey.
Welcome to the DW.
Tell everybody we back on.
Experience. You ready for tonight? Hey.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. I am going to bring to the stage my friend, the talented Markevius Faulkner. Markevius, let's make the devil mad. That's clearly what's going on. If we're getting good, here's the thing, and let's just keep going with it. Is there a time? Listen, I got my questions. I'm ready. See, he thought he was mad, but has there been a time that something like this has happened to you? Have you dropped the mic? Have you forgotten the words? What experience have you had where it's like you had to keep going?
Absolutely, man. I've been on stage where the sound completely goes out, and it's a room sold out show. Like, we got to keep going. You know, if it's what you do, you just do what you do. You don't have to say it ain't your season. The devil all busy. Just do what you do. Boom, keep going. So absolutely, man.
I think a lot of times we look for perfection as opposed to just, going through it and understanding that there are going to be glitches, that there are going to be mistakes. So as we've talked in the interview, we've talked about gifts. You've talked about really your spirituality being important to you. Let me ask you, who is God to Markevius?
God is music. God is truth. God is love. God is peace. God is joy. God is a friend, a comforter. I always thank God for soothing me. Mm-hmm. Thank you for soothing me, because I have moments where I need that kind of peace. Did I say friend already? Because he's definitely a friend. I don't have a whole lot of friends necessarily, but God is definitely a friend. He's a void filler. I can go on and on about.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's so many things to you. So what is the most difficult decision you've made to pursue your destiny?
I can be honest. I don't know if anything felt difficult. I don't know if anything felt difficult. I honestly feel this way. I feel like God honors my creativity, and I believe God honors my preparedness. So nothing has been very difficult. I always tell people, like, God and I, it's almost like we're business partners. So if I have an idea, I know it comes from him, but if I have a dream or an idea, I write it down and I just ask him to breathe on it. So I only make moves and decisions based on what I wrote, not just what I think. I don't wing anything. I'm very strategic, and I try to be as sound as possible. So nothing has been difficult in the decision making. There's been difficult parts, getting to whatever the goal is, challenges, but I hadn't had any difficult moments in making decisions.
Okay. One of my friends, Dante, he was on earlier, and he mentioned that longevity in any genre is difficult, but seems harder in gospel. Would you consider yourself a gospel artist? And do you think that statement is true in regards to longevity?
I think it has truth to it. And I know what he means when he say that. But I believe the reason why maybe in gospel it can be difficult to have longevity is because gospel is the genre where you're not supposed to be the star. All singing about the star. So you like the help.
That's good.
But a lot of times people in their writing and when they create things, they create to be the star. So it's hard to break into the industry. It's hard because you're the focal point. Everything has your name on it. You have the most branding. You're the star. So I think longevity in gospel. In fact, I think people have longer careers in gospel because of the content. Like the content of the music is more emotional. You know, it's a you need it kind of thing. And do I consider myself a gospel artist? If gospel means the good news, then absolutely. But as it pertains to the gospel music industry that we created, I don't necessarily know if I solely only fit in that industry, because I like to write things about love. I like to write things about that inspire people, and it's not necessarily saying the name of Jesus all the time, or it's not pushing a certain religion. So, yeah.
Do you think gospel artists miss the mark, like you mentioned, like where, you know, gospel music is talking about the star and we're the conduit, we're the help to the star. Do you think gospel artists miss the mark?
I don't know if I have the grounds to say if gospel artists miss the mark, but but I think sometimes just because I'm a songwriter and the way I hear songs written, I think we should write to help others. So even if you write a song about the pain and the hurt, maybe a part of the song can talk about how someone can not be in pain or not be hurt. So I think in our writing, sometimes we miss the mark. I don't know about character and, you know, the industry as a whole, but the content that we put out, sometimes I don't think it necessarily always reflect who God is. It reflects who we are, our isms sometimes. And I think that could be a distraction sometimes.
Well, and I mean, it's not really about character, but do you think a gospel celebrity is oxymoronic? Because if we're talking about the star, should gospel artists be celebrities? Does that, what's your thought on that?
Well, the term celebrity, it I forget the root word. I studied this. I should know this. But you celebrate, you celebrate the person for who they are and what they're doing, right? So it's okay to celebrate someone who's impacted millions of people. I think it's when our egos kind of comes with the celebration, and now we need 1,000-piece entourage, and we only want red M&Ms in our dressing rooms. I think those kind of things, when our ego comes with the celebrity, it's okay to be a celebrity. Jesus was a celebrity. You know, John the Baptist put him on the map. He was like, I know y'all come to see me, but y'all got to check out this dude. He is the dude. He was a celebrity. So I think it's okay to be a celebrity. I don't think it's okay that you're trying to be a celebrity for the clout and for all of that. Then you're really not creative. You're just out here trying to do something. But real creative people naturally are celebrities. You're naturally because you're a creator. You don't imitate anybody. So everything you do is brand new. It's organic, and no one's seen it or heard it before because you create from scratch. Before they were called artists, the Bible called them craftsmen. We create, we build things. We build sounds, we build chords, lyrics, structures of songs. We build shows like this because artistic people is not just a musical thing. You're an artist, you build, you're a craftsman. So I think celebrity comes with that because it's new territory, you know.
That's good.
But ego is where we fall. That's why Lucifer is who he is today, because of his ego.
That's good. You are teaching, which brings me to my next point, Melodic Minds Music Academy. I read somewhere that the school was birthed and helped to be birthed the pastor of Nehemiah Ministries. Pastor
Kelsey West.
Pastor Kelsey West. Tell us about that story. Tell us a little bit about your music school and how it came about.
Okay, so I created Melodic Minds because I started to realize, it was two reasons. I started to realize that in churches, especially like smaller churches, they not necessarily struggle, but I'm just going to use the word struggle with having to pay musicians, because musicians kind of handle ministry a little differently. They're not there for ministry. They treat it like a gig. So a lot of ministries that mean well struggle because they have to pay out musicians. So I thought it would be really, really dope. Can I say dope on here? I thought it'd be really.
Yeah, you can say dope.
I thought it'd be really cool to teach young people how to play instruments and learn their craft, and they can play in church because they weren't clouded by the gig mentality of something. They didn't show up smelling like weed all the time, or show up late, or fumbling through songs, So I wanted to create a space to educate young people to play in ministry as well. But I also wanted to bridge the gap between singers and musicians, because singers don't necessarily feel like they're musicians, and musicians sometimes feel like they're auto mechanics, like, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. We're gonna play it in this key. So I wanted to create Melodic Minds. That's why I call it Melodic Minds, because the voice is the first instrument. That's the most important instrument. If you out somewhere and there's a band playing, nobody's gonna be like, shh, let's listen to the jazz band way off in the corner. It's beautiful instruments. You're just gonna be talking because it's called ambiance music. But if someone gets on their microphone and say, hello, everybody, shh, someone's speaking. That's the most important instrument. So I wanted to let singers know that you have a very important instrument, and I'm going to teach you how to play your instrument, and you are also a musician. So that's the reason why I have Melodic Minds, to let people know, like, you have an instrument. Your whole body's an instrument. Play it.
That's good. Fun fact about Markevius. Markevius has perfect pitch.
Relatively.
Do you have perfect pitch? Or I think you have perfect pitch.
Relatively. It depends on
what key is my theme song in?
Your theme song is in the key of B.
You picked it out. Right. You play the piano. How many instruments do you play?
I play a few instruments. I understand a lot of instruments. I play piano. I play a little acoustic guitar. I play trumpet, trombone, a little organ, little drums. But I understand other instruments because I study the science of, like, treble clef and the science of bass clef and those kind of things. So, and voice. I sometimes see I'm forgetting about that instrument.
Yeah.
I play the instrument as well. So.
What keeps you humble? You know, and why teach instead of you could be doing all of these things for yourself? Why do it for other people? And what keeps you humble?
It's and I'm gonna answer the question backwards. It's not that I don't do things as an artist, because I'm a craftsman.
Right.
So I build and create because I have a certain message as well. But what keeps me humble, I'm not lifted. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not around people that have me all elevated sky high. So I don't have to, like, work so hard on being humble. Like, I'm just who I am. Like, I've always, it's just who I am, you know? So.
What do you love that people say about you?
You know, I actually like when people think I'm funny.
Okay.
Because, you know, I think I'm funny sometimes. So
okay.
When people think I'm funny, I think that's pretty cool because I can be hilarious at times. My whole family is really funny.
Really? Okay. So what? Let me ask you this also. What is a misconception that your friends have about you? What is it that your friends believe about you that's absolutely untrue?
Well, it's hard to answer that because as you, my friend, you would kind of know. But I would just say, just people in general. I think I come across extremely outgoing, and I'm not as outgoing as I come across. It's just when you're working and doing things in your purpose and your gift, it just naturally pushes you out. It's not that I am trying to be outgoing like that, but it just naturally pushes you out. So most people probably think I'm like this big, huge social butterfly that likes to be up front and have my name on things. But the truth is I like to be at home. I like quiet.
Yeah.
Peaceful things, yeah.
And you wear so many hats. We haven't even delved into you are back in school. You have pledged Phi Beta Sigma. You do so much outside of music also. What drives you? Like why did you decide to go back to school? What made you join Phi Beta Sigma? Did I say that right?
Yeah. So the reason why I went back to school, and it's not a long story. I was just telling a fraternity brother like 45 minutes ago. My father wasn't necessarily in my life consistently in the household. So I didn't understand why I carried the last name of a guy that I didn't have a tight relationship with. I knew my mom, I knew that side of the family, but I didn't know my father and that side very well. So, and I'd be telling him, like, I'd be apologizing because I don't always share the flip side of the story. We have a great relationship now. Like God brought that thing like full circle. So the reason why I want to go back to school is not because I feel like I need to have letters behind my name, because I'm not one of those pro go to college. I'm not that person necessarily, but me having identity issues growing up and carrying my last name, my first name is already kind of weird. And then carrying a last name, you don't know a legacy. I went back to school because me knowing my father now and knowing his father and knowing the desires and passions and who I am on the Faulkner side, I wanted to go back to school, not just for me, but so my family could be proud of something as well. And so, my father and his father and so forth can be proud. So that's why I went back to school, to be honest, to create some meaning behind my name. And also, I know a lot of people in my family didn't have the opportunity to go to college. And I had the opportunity to finish. I don't necessarily feel like I need it, but I had the opportunity to do it.
I want to talk about that a little bit. We're going to play a game in a little bit, but talking about your father, and
he's probably watching.
Shout out to Mr. Faulkner. It's going to be good stuff. But what would you say to people who don't have the greatest relationship with their parent, with their mother or their father? It's very interesting how you talked about identity and knowing yourself. So how did your relationship get better? What would you say to those? Because I believe there are people who are going to be watching who need to hear this. What would you say to them?
It's the F word.
Okay. Yeah.
You have to not blame people for whatever they didn't do. You have to understand that, especially if your parents meant well, or they may have had their own challenges, you have to forgive even without the apology. And I feel like that is the key. Like I've forgiven my dad, I've forgiven my mom, I've forgiven however my upbringing was. And I also have to forgive myself and move out of my own way. So some people use it like motivation. Yeah, I'm for the beat because nobody was in my life and I'm for the, but the truth is you hurting and you really want your daddy. And you 45, but you really still want your daddy. You still want your mom.
When did you forgive yourself?
It was a while ago. It had to been maybe 2008. The start of my artistry. As an independent solo artist, that's what like gave me the freedom to like to just like go on and do the thing. You're gonna be okay. You forgiven yourself. You forgiven your upbringing. You forgiven whatever, because people did the best they could, So yeah, that's the key. I feel like it's forgiveness.
That's really good. Like, so I think sometimes we don't take into consideration that we're all doing the best that we can, and that our level or our ability, everybody's level is different. That's one thing I learned, even with my father, is that he gave me what he could give me, and he wasn't able to give me any more. And that was something I had to really, really accept. That's good stuff. That's really good.
I believe God set it up for me that way so he could like have a space. Because if I just had my daddy would have been like woo to me. And because he wasn't like woo to me, God had opportunity to be woo to me, right? So I would have been all in because I love pretty hard, so I would have been my daddy, my mama, my daddy, my mama. But God flawed them just enough for me that he had like some space that I needed him. Like I needed God. So, yeah.
Can we just pause right there? Because what you said was just heavy. God flawed them so that you could have the opportunity to be closer to God. We don't always look at situations like that.
Yeah.
That was a good aha moment. Yeah. All right. So we are going to switch over into this game I've created for the DW experience called Truth or Sing.
Sing? Lord.
Truth or Sing, yes. Shout out to the wonderful people who do Song Association. One of my inspirations, shout out to Terrell G. Rice. So he inspired this game. So the object of the game, you can it's kind of like Truth or Dare, but Truth or Sing. Okay. So I am going to ask you a question. You can choose to answer or you can choose to sing. If you choose to sing, I will give you a word that you have 10 seconds to either sing it in the song or the word is in the title.
All right.
Okay?
Okay, gotcha.
All right. So we'll start with something easy. When is the last time you cried?
About an hour ago.
What happened?
I was just telling a fraternity brother the story of how God mended my relationship with my father. I was sharing with him how I got to see my dad like get baptized and how we like text and how cool we are now. And my face was wet from joy. From joy.
Okay, that's good. I like that. Who's the worst artist that you have ever worked with? You want to sing?
Yep.
Okay. The word is more. 10 seconds.
What's the song with more in it? Is that my alarm?
Yeah, that's your alarm. It's okay.
Anything with more. What has more in it?
I give you more. I don't know.
Yeah, that song. Lawrence Flowers. Yeah. Sorry. I was gonna think, I want more, Jesus, more of you. I need so much more, Jesus, more. I don't know who sing this song. You know the song? Did it do it again? It went away again. You want to just Facebook Live me or something? Unplug it, plug it in.
I've never had this happen before.
There it is. I can hear you now.
I've never had this happen before.
Yeah,
like this computer has been nice to me. My mic has been nice to me. And we're going to get through a couple of more questions. Okay, so you lost that first round, just to be clear, okay? Okay. What is a secret you've kept from your parents?
A secret I've kept from my parents? Like, which one? is the question. Your phone went out again. Unmute yourself.
Answer or sing. You can answer or you can sing.
I'll sing.
Okay. The word is Jehovah. Now, if you don't get this right, I'm going to fight you.
Jehovah God.
Thank you.
I reveal my confused heart. Unlock this firm and well-built guard. There you go.
Very good.
I was sharp.
This is what I'm going to do. You can still hear me?
Yep.
I'm going to get everything out of this, and then I want to have you back on when we get all the technical difficulties out of the way. But what is the song that's gotten you through 2020? What is your song that when you felt low or just with everything that's going on, what has been that one song that has gotten you through 2020?
There's two songs.
Okay.
I've been listening to Karen Clark Sheard, Holy Thou Art Holy.
Okay.
A Holy Thou Art God, I believe it's called. That song is just so skillfully written. I've been listening to that song all last year. And then Twinkie Clark is like a Clark sister thing, which is very random for me. She has a song called Worship the King.
Can you sing a little bit of it?
There's a praise on the inside, my soul is satisfied. Something like that. I love that song so much, man. I get emotional when I hear that song. But that song, Holy Thou Art Holy and Worship the King, like, man.
Markevius, you can sing. I mean, we know you can sing, but let me give you some more words because I just want to hear you sing. The next word is love.
Love. Did I hear you sing this before? So many things I've got to tell you, but I'm afraid I don't know how. 'Cause there's a possibility that you look at me differently, love. That's it. I had a surgery on my mouth, man, so I sound horrible right now. So
you know what? Here's what I
just it went away when you did something. I was hearing you at first. Unmute yourself. Oh. We could have just FaceTime. You want to just Facebook Live me, or it has to be on this platform, right? Unmute yourself.
What is your advice to up and cut? See, I'll say this. Number one, well, let me just say this, Darrell Walter. Whatever you are doing, don't give up. Don't quit. Markevius, you said it best. Don't despise small beginnings. I'm going to put my notes to the side. What I do know for sure is that there are going to be stumbling blocks and roadblocks, and this is the lesson that I'm getting out of it. This is not an opportunity to fail or give up or lay down. And a lot of you out there, you are on your way to greatness, but you may have hit a stumbling block. You may have hit a time where your sound has went out, but you haven't lost your voice. So I just want to say, don't give up. You're a teacher, you're an entrepreneur, you're an artist, you are a man. You are not just the jack of all trades. You are the master of many trades. You do everything with excellence. Mm-hmm. As someone in this business who has longevity, you have worked with many artists. You have artists that you are developing. Kaylee, is it Kit? The young lady, Austin, you have, Austin, and the other lovely young singer.
Which one? Lindsay.
Lindsay. You pour into them. what would be your advice to young Markevius, to young Austin, to young Lindsay? What would you say to these artists that are coming up now in 2021?
Just keep creating. Whatever you see, execute it. But I'm really big on writing it down. You have to write it down. When you write it down, it's real. You can ball it up, you can rip it, it becomes real. Write it down. It's not real if it's just in your mind. So even for yourself, what you just did is what David has done in the Bible. He encouraged himself, and how you flipped it to encourage somebody else. This is platform. This is technology. It's flawed, right? But it's flawed just enough where it keeps you humble, and God is going to elevate you. This is nothing. You running all that right now. Wait till you get to the point where your producers come up to your room and say, "We're ready for you." Because they're running sound, they're running cameras, they're running lighting and all that. So I'm gonna answer the question, but you be encouraged, because like I said, do not despise the small. I'm getting excited. Do not despise the small beginnings. And for any artist, any creator, any craftsman, I should say, just keep creating and be who you are. And whatever you see, strategize, try to execute what you see, and don't let everybody get in your ear. Everybody don't see what you see. People mean well, but they don't see what you see.
They don't see what you see. Listen, going into 2021, first of all, let's talk about some of your music. You came out with your single last year, and I was just playing it. 2020, the title of your song is, what is the title of your song?
I Won't Fail You.
How did that come about? Tell us a little bit about it.
That's actually the only song on my album that I didn't write. I didn't write I Won't Fail You. It's written by a guy named David Gillard and Marquis Walker. They presented me with the song. It was going on a Memphis compilation album. They presented me with a song. I was like, man, that song hot. but it was I definitely connected with the song. It's just my plea to God, like, no matter what I'm doing, no matter if I do stray away, I promise you I won't fail you. I know what you told me, and I know you trust me, and I trust you. So I'm gonna keep doing what I gotta do, because I do not want to fail you.
What is one thing that you want to leave the people with? What should people know about Markevius? Like, when it's all said and done, what do you want people to know?
I want people to know that God is bigger than your religion. God is bigger than your denomination. God is bigger than your own self-righteousness, your attitude, your creativity. God is not just an American God. God is a global God. And I want people to know that God, while we're so into ourselves artistically and musically, the Bible says that God created the birds in the sky, the beasts in the field, the fish in the water, the vegetation that grew out of the ground. And out of everything that he created, God said, and it was good. So before there was a Markevius, before there was a Daryl, before there was a Kimberell or a Stevie Wonder, whomever, God had already praised himself and said it was good. So God don't necessarily need us to be celebrities and be stars musically, because God created praise and worship. God created everything and then pat himself on the back. So I want people to know, like, that God is bigger than who we are. He is massive. Whatever, all that God is his. The Bible says his ways and his thoughts are higher than our thoughts. So just don't put limits on God. God may not come in the form of your religion or your church or the music that you think is saving people, because some people get blessed in other genres, to be honest.
Yeah.
I didn't come to God at the altar saying Jesus real fast. I didn't find God that way. I found God in other music. I didn't grow up in church necessarily. So I found God in other ways. And you have to be liberal in your mind and your heart enough to know that God is a liberal God.
That's so good. I mean, people would assume that you did grow up in church. So to even hear that conversation, but the knowledge you just dropped, God being a global God, beyond our religion, beyond our own thoughts. Markevius, I just want to say thank you. Everybody, they can find you on all social media platforms. Where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Markevius, the number 4, real, REAL. Facebook, Markevius Faulkner, and Markevius Faulkner 2. It's just because I've been on Facebook so long,
you got a lot of friends. You popular.
You run out of. Yeah, you got to create another one. So yeah, you can find me on there. You can also find me on like iTunes, all those digital download platforms where my music is on there as well.
Listen, I just want to say thank you again. I mean, and I think we'll do some more conversations down the road, but my heart and my intention, as I told you already, is to encourage, uplift, and inspire. And listen, if you are not encouraged from this conversation, if you are not uplifted and inspired, I literally have goosebumps on my skin because the goal was set and I really believe we met that intention. Markevius, you are an amazing human being. And I know that this is only the beginning of your school, of your artistry, of your craft. I cannot wait to see all the great things that you are doing. Don't forget, he has a vocal exercise tape that you can get on there, and also follow him on Instagram. He gives great tips. And if you have kids out there, if you are an adult, if you want to learn how to play, if you want to learn how to produce, if you want to learn how to sing, I have taken vocal lessons from Markevius, and he knows I'm on my way back. But he is the real deal. And for a lot of you singers and artists out there, you need a vocal coach. You need a vocal coach. That is one thing I have learned. At some point, you need a vocal coach. You don't know everything. You need somebody to help you be better. But I just want to say thank you to everyone. Markevius, it's been a pleasure, and we will do this again.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Listen, y'all, it has been a pleasure. We had technical difficulties, but I think the biggest lesson in all of that, no matter what, don't give up. Don't stop. Don't quit. When you face stumbling blocks, when you hit roadblocks, that is just only telling you to keep going. You are closer to the blessing. You are closer to the goal than you think you are. And I don't know who needs to hear that tonight, but this show is just to remind you that you are closer to the blessing than you think you are. And as my friend Carlin Markevius just said, yes, God is big and God is global. So I will see you all next week with another special guest, the artist of Veer. And you all have a great week and stay warm out there. Take care, everybody. I love y'all. Don't nobody else tell you I love y'all. And just take a listen to this great commercial.
Have you always wanted to learn to play an instrument, write a song, or work with a vocal coach? Melodic Minds Music Academy is more than your average studio for beginner and professional music lessons. Here at Melodic Minds, we strive to use music as a vessel to build self-confidence, respect, and discipline to help our students accomplish their goals and dreams. For several years, Melodic Minds has created a culture that fosters artistic creativity. We teach aspiring musicians, songwriters, performers, and singers of all ages and learning capacities. Visit us at www.melodicmindsmusicacademy.com. Click, enroll, and start perfecting your craft today.